Hello folks, I'm Alex, this is Alex Unabridged, and this is La Bella Italia Tag. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yes, Tag Tuesday, so time for another little tag. This is La Bella Italia Tag. This is a brand new original tag created by Emily at the Linguists Library and Daniela at Uncommon Reader. And I was tagged by Pat at Book Chat with Pat. So thank you very much for that tag, Pat. I will link to Emily, Daniela and Pat's tags and videos and channels in the description as always. So yeah, in the notes for her video, Daniela says this is to take the January blues away. 10 iconic places of La Bella Italia inspire these prompt ideas. But the book choices don't have to be related to Italy, which is good because I don't have that many. Some, but not many. So let's dive straight into these prompts then. Prompt number 1 is all roads lead to Rome. So that's history or historical novels. I don't read much of either, but historical novels, the one that immediately springs to mind would have to be The Terror by Dan Simmons. And this is Simmons' take on the historical events of Sir John Franklin's expedition to the Arctic in search of the Northwest Passage, and the subsequent marooning of both ships, HMS Erebus and Terror, when they get trapped in the ice. And Simmons adds an extra layer of supernatural horror on top of his kind of speculative version of events, as if the dwindling food supplies, illness, the constant threat of mutiny, extreme hostile Arctic environment weren't all horrific enough already. But yeah, it's got amazing rich prose in it. It's got excellent attention to detail in the description, especially of the environment. Really great character work. Some really impressive levels of research have gone into it, I think. And it's got an imaginative supernatural threat as well. It's long and it's worth taking your time over because, as I say, it is quite dense, rich prose. Yeah, really fantastic book. Made my top 10 favourite books last year. Okay, prompt number 2 is Wherefore Art Thou, Verona? So this is romance books, literary fiction, ill-fated lovers, that kind of thing. So I will go for the romance here. Again, not a genre I read much of, but I have dabbled into romance. One that I read last year that I had fun with was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This is a queer romance between two women, one of which is stuck in a time loop, stuck on I think the New York subway system in a time loop. And you know, it's the romance that blossoms between these two women as they meet on this subway, and then obviously you know, the trying to figure out how on earth they get one of them out of this time loop. It was a great little concept that worked really well, and it's got some great humour in it. I found it quite funny. It was really well done by Casey McQuiston. Very enjoyable read. Okay, prompt number 3 is Florence, Brushstrokes and Botticelli. So books about art and music or artists. For this one, I have gone for one of my many art books. I do have a lot of art books. But this one I've gone for is The Cindy Sherman Effect. I love Cindy Sherman, and this has got, you know, sort of bits and pieces of her work from various different sort of phases of her career, and lots of sort of essays and writings, that kind of thing, on her work and her as an artist. Yeah, great feminist art, lots of stuff that plays with kind of ideas of the male gaze, lots of stuff on kind of the grotesque. Just, yeah, there's so much in here in Sherman's work. And yeah, I really love her stuff. I wrote quite a long paper on her stuff when I was a master's student, and really got into her work. So yeah, this is a great book. I picked this up a couple of years ago in a sale with some Christmas vouchers, and yeah, it's a great one to keep going back to. Okay, next up we have got Sicily, Myths of Mount Etna. So mythology, fantasy and science fiction books. I've got to go for science fiction, being a science fiction fan, but I will stick with the volcano theme of the prompt of Mount Etna, and go for Journey to the Centre of the Earth by Jules Verne. A great classic science fiction story, really great adventure. If you don't know this follows Professor Otto Leidenbrock, who is rather a hot-headed German geologist who discovers an ancient manuscript hidden within a book. And after translating it, he finds that it's a message from a 16th century Icelandic alchemist who claims to have reached the Earth's core. And driven by his scientific curiosity, he enlists the help of his nephew, Axel, and a guide, to journey to Iceland to follow the alchemist's instructions into how to get to the centre of the Earth. And so they descend into a dormant volcano and embark on a rather perilous and adventurous journey deep within the Earth, where they encounter, vast caverns and strange prehistoric creatures, underground oceans, and lots of bizarre flora and fauna. Yeah, it's a really great, quite a quick read, quite a sort of sarcastic humour at times. I really enjoyed this. I enjoyed all the character voices. I enjoyed the imagination more than anything else of Jules Verne, and I'm going to be reading more Jules Verne in April this year with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, Journey to the Centre of the Earth, a absolutely brilliant, great adventure story, science fiction adventure story. Okay, prompt number 5 is the Bolognese Chronicles, so food-themed books. I don't think I've read anything fiction-wise food-themed. I guess you could count Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, because that's lattes, coffees, and there's quite a bit of baked goods in there as well. But in terms of non-fiction, and another art book really, art and design book, is this one, Elegantissima, so fitting for an Italian themed tag, the design and typography of Louise Fili. And this is all sort of work about food identity, branding and identity. Everything from sort of labels and logos, and just, packaging and all that kind of thing, and also about Louise Fili and her approach to design. So yeah, this one was bought for me by my sister quite a few years ago, and it's always a lovely one to go back to. I do particularly like food branding design. There's some really great stuff out there, and it's always really nice to have something just of one designer as well, and kind of look at how their sort of style has evolved over their career, things like that. So yeah, that's a really good one. Okay, next up we've got prompt number 6, which is From Sardinia with Love. So this is thriller, adventure, spy, heist books. I'm actually going to go for adventure, and I'm going to go for a non-fiction adventure actually, with this one, Annapurna by Maurice Herzog. This is Herzog's first-hand account of his successful attempt to be the first person to summit Annapurna, which is one of the 14 8,000 meter peaks, or 8,000 meter plus peaks. And Annapurna is one of the most deadly. And yeah, this is a great adventure story, told by someone, the person who did it, And yes, they were successful, but you know, they got, as in they got up and down, but not without sacrifice. There's some, you know, tough stuff in here in terms of what they went through. But yeah, it's a great, again, another great one for this time of the year, like the Terror, because we've got cold environments, and you know, if you're in a part of the world that is rather chilly at the moment, then this is a great one for this winter season. Okie dokes. Prompt number 7 is Venice, In a Gondola with Casanova, Forbidden Love Affair books. I honestly can't think of anything that I can recommend for this. I don't think I've ever read anything where that applies, so I will skip over that question. Okay, prompt number 8 is Naples Never Sleeps, so mystery, horror, gothic books. For this one, I've picked one that I'm just about to finish up on. I've got about an hour, half an hour, something like that left on the audio. And that's The House on the Borderland by William Hope Hodgson. The story is presented as a manuscript found within the ruins of a remote house in Ireland. And it's a journal, really, of a recluse, essentially. He lives with his sister, the narrator, essentially, the journaler. But it's very much him and his dog, Pepper. And he lives in this, you know, house on the borderland, essentially, which is perched really precariously on a cliff above like a really vast, mysterious chasm. And through his journals, the recluse describes encountering really bizarre phenomena, including like strange creatures, swine-like creatures that emerge from the chasm and attack the house. And then increasingly unsettling visions that distort the fabric of reality, like time comes into it quite a bit. It's really strange time shifts and stretches. And as his sanity unravels, he witnesses really impossible kind of cosmological states and shifts. It deals a lot with kind of the cosmic and cosmic dread. And kind of, you know, the human perception of things when you're confronted with, you know, the unbelievable, the unfathomable. But it's got a real kind of gothic feel to it as well. The house and the sort of style I think feels quite gothic. I've really enjoyed it so far. I can't see that the last half an hour is going to change that. Yeah, Hope Hodgson, I really like his writing style a lot. So prompt number 9 then is Tales of Torino La Magica. Ghosts and legend stories, novellas, short stories, plays and folklore. I will go with the ghosts for this, and one that I really enjoyed from last year is From Below by Darcy Coates, which I have mentioned on the channel before. This is the story of a group of divers, deep sea divers, or at least documentary makers, who are diving down to this shipwreck, this kind of mysterious shipwreck, to try and figure out what happened. And so yeah, so they're really deep sea diving. So it's very claustrophobic even in that context. But then there's stuff on the ship. There's things on the ship that, you know, aren't nice. So there's that level of horror as well. Yeah, it's really atmospheric. It's very good fun. It's not too scary. It's just the right level of creepy, I would say, to be fun and not like overly scary. It definitely has atmosphere. I definitely felt tense reading it, and there's a claustrophobia there for sure. But Darcy Coates' style is really easy to read. It's got a great flow to it. It's a fast read and really good fun. Okay, prompt number 10 then is Musing in Milan. So this is any genre, bonus postcards from Italy. So this is a book set in Italy. One that I really enjoyed for Garb August last year was The Dante Conspiracy by James Becker. So this is set in Florence and revolves around the theft of Dante's death mask. It's a very kind of Dan Brownsy sort of feeling story, but with some really interesting kind of, you know, history of Dante and the Divine Comedy and that kind of thing in it. Yeah, really good, just fast-paced, fun thriller book. And then I can't not mention Umberto Eco, who I love. I haven't read of all Eco's works, but I've read quite a fair few. So we've got The Name of the Rose, which is set in an Italian monastery in medieval times. I'm not sure where it is in Italy. But yeah, that one's an excellent mystery, literary mystery. Very detailed, plenty to look up, plenty to send you off down rabbit holes with. But yeah, really good. Kind of something to get your teeth stuck into for sure. I've got Foucault's Pendulum, this one, which is my favourite Eco by far. And this is another literary mystery essentially. So yeah, this one is set in Milan, and focuses on a group of publishers who are dealing with sort of occult and arcane texts. Really, really interesting. I had to look a lot of stuff up in this. It was quite hard work, but it was incredibly involving. I got completely immersed in it. And yeah, I love that one. But then there's plenty of Eco stuff. A lot of it is set in Milan. I think The Mysterious Flame of Queen Loana is also set in Milan, as is Numero Zero, I think. If I remember rightly, I think that's Lake Como and then Milan again. That one's quite a good one if you're not sure about Eco and you want to try some, but you don't want to kind of go straight in with one of the big chunking, you know, kind of more difficult ones, more challenging ones. That's like a shorter book and it's a much more fast-paced kind of mystery thriller. Quite a political sort of plot in that as well. But yeah, anything by Eco, basically, that's set in Italy. So the only other prompt left to do is prompt 11, which is to tag some folks. I will drop some names in the description of this video, so if your name is down there, then I tag you. But obviously, if you've not been tagged and you fancy the look of this one, then consider yourselves tagged and have a go at it. But that will do from me today. Thank you very much for watching, folks. As always, do drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do let me know if you've read any of the stuff I've mentioned today and whether you liked it or not. I will be back on Friday with some more bookish rambles of some sort, so I do hope you'll join me for that then. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.